would come to watch movies when we were in the conservatory with Amanda, the producer, and all the guys from Plenty Good, the production company for the movie. So this is a nice full circle moment for us. We're going to be here for the Q&A after the movie's done. So stay. There's a lot of really good stories about how we made this. Enjoy the movie and we'll talk later.
And of course, the writer-director Samir Oliveros. And also going to be joined by producer Amanda Freedman. Welcome. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you for this fantastic film. Thank you for being our guest here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So, I'm hoping we have some terrific questions from the audience as well. I cannot see anybody right now, but we'll figure it out. We have a mic. Okay. I'm going to start with a few questions up here, but please be thinking about what you might want to ask our film team. Come out to the audience and we'll take some of your questions as well. But just by way of getting started, I remember watching Press Luck, at least in a few hours in the 80s. Syndicated, I guess it was mornings, maybe after school. So I was familiar with the game show, definitely remembered it, but I never heard about this event in, I guess it was 1984, and I'm curious, how did you come across the actual event? And then also, of course, think about it as a subject for a future film.
I actually found a tape in a thrift shop, and I used to go to thrift shops to find negatives and tapes of stuff that I think were really good recorded memories and inspiration for movies. And I saw a taping for Precious Luck, and I was like, wow, this is really crazy looking. And I started researching it, and I found this incident with Michael. And I remember watching the clip and thinking, this guy's completely insane. And it was an amazing movie. So I looked for the movie, didn't find it, and then I decided to make the movie back. But it really was about seeing the guy trying to keep it all together under sort of treasure, and knowing that, like, seeing his face and knowing that he knew a lot more than what he was portraying, made him a really interesting character, and I thought it was worth it and exploring what was really behind all this stuff.
Now, the cast is fantastic. I don't know how quickly Paul Hauser came to mind as far as where he's going to go with the movie, but the entire cast, I love David Spade as Bill Carruthers. And Bill Carruthers was actually a game show man and had worked on a number of very popular, the movie of the game, the dating game. We'll come back to the cast in a moment, but you have a disclaimer at the beginning. And I'm curious, a few examples in terms of the balance between the documentary aspects of what went down during Michael Larson episode, especially in terms of what was going on with these executives and what they might have actually done, and what's in the fiction, just is there any examples to help us understand that aspect a little better?
Yeah, of course. So we actually have Bill Carruthers Jr. as our creative consultant. Yeah, so when we finished writing the script, we Googled his name, saw a number in Santa Barbara, gave him a cold call, and like I said, I've been waiting for this call for 4 years, which was amazing. And then sent him the script, and he was like, oh, okay, you need to do this, my dad was not like that, this is wrong, this is good. And we were obviously not going to take all his notes, but we wanted to listen to the guy, and we tried to be very faithful to what we know, which are 40 minutes of the two game episodes. Sorry for the review of this, a little crazy on it. But we wanted to play with everything that we didn't know about, which was all the commercial breaks before and the after. So the audition is all fiction. He gave us a couple of little Easter eggs, like the plate, the ceramic plate that he brings into the audition room was actually a thing. And we were like, wow, that needs to make it into the movie. But everything outside of those 42 minutes that you can find on YouTube, all the dramatization of the control room is all what we came up with, what we created, what we dramatized, and we kept thinking like these guys need to be losing their minds. How can we, just like make it dramatic and make it move, make it thrill, and that's the balance that we were striking for.
I mentioned the cast, but it was wonderful to see actors we know in other connections doing, stretching, doing something a little bit different. I enjoyed Johnny Knoxville and the talk shows and that strange interlude. Nobody comes to Hollywood by accident. It's just a thought, whatever's line. Maisie Williams. But you had a waiver with the strike, I think, so this was like a unique moment in time when you got to put this together. And then also Shamier Anderson, for me, was just a revelation, a shock. He was outstanding. A little bit about casting and Amanda, if you have anything to help us understand that one.
Yeah, so we did shoot during the strike. Paul came on first, and the cast rounded out pretty quickly around him once he was on, and everyone was really excited to join. Obviously, it helps that people were out at the moment and we had a waiver. And we ended up having all these, really small roles that we didn't expect, like the role of the PA, where Maisie stepped up and she was, just delighted to come and be part of the movie. And even James Wall, like some great, really strong actors that were willing to play some of the side characters, and we kind of thought like, how can we give them more lines really quickly, because we're impressed with the level of the cast that we got. But no, it was a great ensemble that was kind of built around Paul.
But yeah, it was a little crazy to see how because we had been sending the script around like in March, and we got all the agencies knew about the script, and then when the strike hit, they were like, we saw that you got the waiver, who do you want? And they sent the client list, and we were like, always shooting for the top, and then 2 days later you got it, and we were blown away, and we just kept throwing names and aiming for the highest of the list, and everyone was just like coming in. It just became a crazy inside cast. And yeah, we were very lucky or prepared.
Yeah, I mean, the other interesting thing was we were planning to shoot a lot of those, to cast a lot of those roles locally in Colombia, and our services company kind of promised us, there's a great selection of cast here, you won't get accents at all. We went through hundreds and hundreds of tapes, and in every single one, we found maybe one person that didn't have a Colombian accent, so we ended up flying a lot more of the cast than we intended.
So, what you're referring to, the on-set, the interior sets, a lot of the Colombia studio, what we're seeing in the film?
Everything, yeah. 100% of the movie was shot in Bogota, which is where I'm from. Because, dollars just go a much longer way in Colombia, so we could build the studio from scratch and the board from scratch and make the most out of a small budget. So we shot everything in Colombia, and we got promised a lot of really perfect English-speaking people, and that was not the case. So last minute we were flying Johnny Knoxville and crazy actors that just wanted to come up to the Bay, and it was very fun to shoot back. Because I had done a movie there before, and some of the same team, like the production band, had done my first movie for no budget. Like she sourced everything from from the trash. So then I said, whenever I make my next movie, I promise I'm going to give you a proper budget, and then she shined with a proper budget. So.
I'm glad you mentioned that's Lulu.
Lulu, yeah.
The production design and evoking the era is fantastic. And another key element, your composer, John Darrell.
Yep.
Both the intense electronic fugue of the Crestula music, but also the jazzy atmosphere stuff throughout. And maybe not specifically his first film, but it adds so much to the film. I think it will be released as a soundtrack in some capacity, because Can you tell us a bit how you found him to
Yeah, of course.
contribute to them?
We went to see a Conan Kaz concert in Highland Park. He's a New Zealand musician that we really like. And then he invited John Carroll Kirby to play the keyboard for that concert. And we saw him and we were like, wow, that guy's really talented. And then when we shot the movie, we were like, okay, let's reach out to John. And he said, absolutely, let's do this. He started sending demos immediately, but he's very hardworking musician. And then, yeah, he started, while we were cutting, he started sending stuff, but then when we walked to the cut, he started composing, and then I went to the studio in Altadena for about a month, just this March. That's, we started thinking about the different spaces, so we need the up under control, it was a beat. Specific genre, and downstairs it would be electronic, different. And then yeah, we started polishing both spaces, and I think he's incredibly talented, and it was a pleasure to work with him. Hopefully we'll get him the next one.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I want to get some questions from our audience, and we have a microphone. Yeah? Okay, we have a hand up here, so raise your hand, we'll bring the microphone to you.
Great. Incredible movie, excellent performances from everyone. What I loved about it was very even though it's based on a true story, it still had like aesthetic qualities to it. It wasn't just kind of like a documentary style production. It almost kind of reminded me of like Jared Hess sometimes, weirdly enough. I say that as a compliment, it's very cool. I was wondering, like, what did you watch to prepare for this movie, and like, what are your stylistic influences as a director or filmmaker?
That's a good question. So I think that when the movie really clicked was we had the foundation of the 40 minutes again, and then I was thinking, why me? Why am I going to make this movie? And then I started reading about his life, and then I found that he had a really troubled love life, and that's when I was like, okay, this is my aim to it, and then I wanted to make a love story. I love romantic movies, and I just kept watching. Like my favorite movie of all time is On Body and Soul, a Hungarian movie, and then yeah, we just watched a lot of romantic movies, and we kept thinking about how can we make this, how can we camouflage romance under the rhythm. So it was mostly love stories actually. So Punch Drunk Love was a big one.
Yeah,
Parasexes, obviously. And in terms of style, what were we watching? We were watching in the Woodstock when we were pre-production. Oh, we saw a lot of Jacques Tati, so we saw Playtime. We saw, what else did we see?
I think Punch Drunk Love was kind of the big one.
Yeah, that and Parasexes, because we always kept discussing like the layers of the onion and like how to peel the character and just get to deal with the core, which I think we do very successfully in that movie. So I think those three romantic movies would be the reference.
So we have a hand up, I see one up here in the middle, and the mic is connected to you.
Hello. You were talking about one of the stories from production of this film. I was curious, is there a day that you look during production that you look back fondly on, or a day that you look back on and you're like, wow, I still can't believe I got that.
Do you have one? I think you have one.
I think I do. I think it was the day that we were ready to shoot everything with the board and the platform would rotate.
Oh yeah.
And I think we had to bring in text to fix it, it didn't work, and we ended up shooting it all like in the last minute, and we were crouching down, rotating it. Oh my God. Department. That's the one that I think about.
Yeah, that's a good one. But then, yeah, I think seeing the board lit up for the first time was also very moving, and then just seeing Yeah, the Johnny Knoxville scene. I grew up watching Jackass, and when we got him to play the late night host, it felt crazy. And then when he showed up on his suit, I was like, wow, it's Johnny Knoxville. So I guess I will forever remember that. And he's a serious guy. I thought he was just gonna be like the clown that he plays in Jackass. He's a very serious and really good actor. So it was surprising. Yeah.
We have another hand, and there we go.
There's
Oh, you got something.
Hi. Can you describe the production process, like how long it took to shoot it?
So we shot for 4 6-day weeks. It was very intensive. Because of the strike, the pre-production time was really condensed. We got home and then we had, how many weeks did we actually have for Lulu? I think it was
four.
Yeah, so we really saw the whole set in the studio being built within 3 to 4 weeks. And we were doing like round the clock shifts, so people were working at all times to get it done. It was a very,
Paul had to be back for the end ceremony.
exactly, yeah.
Because they thought that the strike was just going to be like a month and then done.
Yeah,
And so they gave us a very specific time slot. And so we had only 4 weeks of pre-production.
yeah. I mean, the development period was how long? It was 4 years?
Yeah, 3 years. So at the very end of the pandemic, as soon as we graduated AFI, we started discussing the movie. And then we started properly working on it in January 2020, and then we went to production in July 2023. That's 3 years.
And it's like 4 6-day weeks.
Yeah, it was 24 days.
Okay. I think that's a record for the festival this year from what people have been reporting.
Really?
Their amount of shoots in terms of
Yeah,
that, limited amount of days in this year.
yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. You need at least 40, but you have to work with it, or better than you, because you don't know anything. That's fair.
Do you have another question ready to go, Mike?
Hi. So obviously the whole story follows Michael, and at the end you guys decided to cut to Patricia and about her life. So I was just wondering why you decided to end the movie the way you did.
Because the whole movie was an act of love. So everything that he did was to try to regain the love of this woman and get his family back together. And he did everything he did, and he studied patterns for 6 months, and he went to the game show to perform under a lot of pressure, only to be on TV at the right time, the right day. So we wanted to see if that was going to be successful or not in front of her eyes.
So, we have time for maybe another question, and Sarah did not see the microphone, but do you have a question?
Down here.
Okay.
You can speak up, you can get a mic.
Hi. My question is, how were you able to make this movie with the culture of game shows not being as known as it is today, and accessible to those in the generation where game shows aren't basically known?
How were we able to make a movie about a game show? Because I think the game show was just an excuse for an act of love. So it just worked as a vehicle of like a surface level task that the guy had to do in order to express how much he wanted his family back. But I do believe, Pressure Luck is still in the air, and it has 4 million daily viewers. Elizabeth Banks is the host, and it's very popular, and this season was kind of extremely popular.
Do they have more than 5 patterns now?
Yeah. They decided to splurge on a randomizer. I don't know, I think that game shows are still very popular. If you look at all the survivors and all the, there's still a lot of them
Yeah, I
I'm
guess
going
just
to the
the
loved
one.
ones.
But this is
Love
from
Island.
another era.
What is
It's a different
Yeah.
game shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I know that there's a hand right here, and I don't, we're nowhere near the mic, but you've been waiting very patiently, so if you go ahead, I'll repeat your question so that the folks in the back can hear as well.
I just want to congratulate you on an amazing telling of an amazing story. It's a story I'm very close to. I was a junior CBS executive assigned to this show
No way.
when this happened. And I lived through the whole aftermath.
Yeah.
The network executive you showed was my boss. And 18 years later, I wound up at the Game Show Network. And on my second day, I said, we have to revive Press Your Luck. And I want to tell a story that's never been told. Because these episodes had only aired once.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to air a second time. So I made sure that the deal the network had just made for the series included these 2 episodes, which were originally taken out of the package. So we got the 2 episodes, we made the documentary. You probably saw it. That was my baby. I wanted to tell that story. And Whammy was the show we did, which was the remake of Press Your Luck. And one of the proudest things we did when I was there was we did a rematch of Ed and Jamie
Yep.
and Michael's brother, because Michael had passed away.
Yeah, yeah.
And we showed clips of the original show. And I'm curious how much of the documentary and perhaps that reunion were in your mind when you were contemplating how to dramatize this.
Very present, and thank you for coming. This is why we make movies. Honestly, this was very, very special, what you're telling us. Yeah, that was part of the research process. So we saw the clip infinite times, and then we saw the documentary, and then we read all of his, the transcripts of his interviews, and we saw there was a bunch of interviews with him. And then we tracked down Jane and Ed. But we didn't want to interview them just because we had a very solid script at that point, and then we didn't want to shuffle things around. But yeah, it was very much present, and the documentary was like one of the main sources of information that we have.
And this is an original Whammy, by the way, from the set.
No way! Amazing!
And you're going to continue this conversation out in the lobby. Thank you so much for that. Would you please join me in giving one more round of applause for our wonderful fun team?